Welcome, Taurus, to Pluto at a Strange Land. Your spring video reading. My name is Eric Francis Compolino, friendly neighborhood astrologer and investigative reporter, working in the Broadway Lights Diner here in Midtown Kingston, New York. Here with your spring video reading here in the springtime of your life as Pluto gets ready to change signs and many, many other things are in motion and afoot. Before I get into astrology, I just want to acknowledge the difficulty and incredible stress that we have all been put through for the past 3 years. It wasn't easy navigating and negotiating our society in 2019 or 18 or 16 or 15, but it got a lot harder in 2020. And one of the reasons it got a lot harder was because there was incredible manipulation placed on us and on our families and companies through the internet and through abusing the social faculties of Aquarius. We really saw the dark side of Aquarius come out, and most of the nightmare did not involve people getting sick, although there were quite a few people murdered during this time. Most of the nightmare for most people involved being forced to do things, forced out of their jobs, forced out of their schools, their children forced out of their schools. For no good reason, our lives were completely upended. And this put people under incredible social pressure and families under social pressure, and a lot of bad things happened. We need to acknowledge that. And now it's left us in a culture that is only partially functional, that is not able to take care of people. It certainly wasn't that good at it in 2019, and it's even worse at it now. And the thing about the times we live in is the thing about modern life that I think you like the very least, which is everything being automated and technologized. It is very uncomfortable for you to have suddenly everything be an electrical device. And as you can see, while I may be working in all this cool digital equipment, I much prefer pencil, paper, hand-drawn charts. And so I do that because I like to do it and like to make art out of the astrology that I do, but also as a reminder just to stay in the analog world and the world of physical textures and the world of the slow passage of time and the world of human connection. And that, to me, that human connection means doing these readings in a human way and presenting my astrology in a way that is designed to reach you as a person and not as a consumer of data. And we're all being turned into these consumers of data, and I'm saying we've got to slow the fuck down about this. All right, so let's start with what's going on in Taurus for you. And from there, let's continue. We'll start again with what's going on in Aries, and I think very conveniently we're going to work our way backwards to Aquarius. We're going to basically cover, well, I'm looking at a chart here. We're going to cover, by the time I'm done, I'm going to cover 6 signs from Capricorn out to Gemini. And we'll do my best to weave it all together. So let's start with Uranus and Taurus. I'm going to work our way up to Pluto and Aquarius. Uranus in Taurus is combining 2 radically different principles. Taurus serves you and all of us as the principle of stability. Uranus is the principle of radical, revolutionary, unexpected, even unmanageable change. And so we've got this real tension going on in Taurus that we are all feeling in some way, but that you have been living with in a very intimate way since it began in 2018. So we're almost 5 years into this experience, and it's almost like you were a normal fish and now suddenly you're an electric eel, or you were, let's see, what you would never in your entire life dream of sleeping with an electric blanket, but suddenly you feel like you're walking around wrapped in one all the time. There's a lot of electrical symbolism with Uranus, discovered at the dawn of the age of electricity, and in many ways representing electricity and what it has done to all of us. What Uranus also does to you is it has been destabilizing in a way that is potentially quite uncomfortable. You prefer things to stay the way they are and to change incrementally. The seasons changing is probably more than enough change for you. You don't need life to be radically different every year or every 2 years, or need to, change living spaces very often. You like stability. And so there's kind of been this electrodes plunged into Taurus. Now, let's get back to Capricorn. Up here, Capricorn's your ninth house. Before I started this, where Pluto's been. Before I started this reading, I was sitting here eating my mashed potatoes in the Broadway lights, and I was thinking, how many horoscope columns have I written since Pluto entered Capricorn? Probably 1,000. And I would say, because I wrote about 500 or 600 dailies for the Daily News, and I would say that every time I have written a Taurus horoscope, I have wondered about and contemplated the meaning of Pluto moving through your ninth house. And this too is a destabilizing influence, but it's, for you, has been destabilizing in a very important way, because it has deconstructed your expectations of what life should be that were put on you by certain ancestors, particularly on the maternal side, which works for the ninth, and it works for Capricorn as well. And there has been a complete reconstitution of your moral nature and your spiritual nature under the influence of Pluto in Capricorn. Carl Jung is reputed to have said once, in a statement that made less sense to me 40 years ago than it does today, makes a lot of sense today. He said, religion is largely the substitute for religious experience. And when you look at religion, you open up the Bible to the book of Ezekiel, for example. Well, Ezekiel had this flying saucer land in front of it, right? Oh, and then it became in the Bible. And then people for the next Ezekiel, Old Testament or New Testament, I don't know, 2,000 years, 5,000 years, have been reading about this experience that this person, maybe he didn't exist, but let's assume he did, had thousands of years ago. And for him, it was a religious experience. It was a manifestation of the beauty of the cosmos. And for us, it's just a thing that we repeat and read over and over and over again. Okay, so that's the religious experience thing, is Capricorn in the ninth house. But Pluto going through has brought you the direct experience of making contact with your soul. And in the process of that, has burned and demolished and gutted various things. I just flashed to an image of Notre Dame Cathedral burning. Do you remember this? That completely outrageous sight that was... I walked past that cathedral every day for years. It would never once have occurred to me that it can burn. But under the influence of Pluto and Capricorn, we even had one of the world's most famous, certainly in Christendom, religious icons engulfed in flames. Absolutely incredible. Visible throughout the entire city of Paris. That's kind of like Pluto going through Capricorn, but in the spiritual sense of bringing you into contact with your actual personal spiritual truth, the journey of your soul. And to do that, you've had to get out of the way all the crap that was laid on you all your life, and going into the lives of your maternal ancestors, up the maternal line, including certain women influencing you on your father's side of the family. And find your way. Find your own journey. All right. So, bearing that in mind, this is one of the major antecedents to Pluto going into the next house, which is Aquarius. angular house, very closely connected to Taurus. Let's hold that thought. But remember that this Pluto in Capricorn, keep the image of Notre Dame Cathedral burning in your mind. And remember that for you, that's like a spiritual thing directly experienced of the internal church burning, but replaced by the direct fire of spirit.